Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 521 of Ink in Your Veins. I'm Rachael Herron, and I am here with you on a solo episode. Not a very long one, but I just want to tell you about something cool that happened, and we can enjoy it together. And I also want to warn you about something that is going on right now. So, with those tempting morsels, first I will tell you what happened this morning. I got up. It was very bloody early because I was recording with Sasha Black for the Black Heron, and we record early in the morning, so much earlier than my 10 a.m., which is when I usually try to get to the desk now. But it was 6:45, and I saw, you know how your email does that preview thing. I saw from my editor at Grand Central Publishing. It said the Seven Miracles of Beatrix Holland, USA Today Best, and then ran out of room to show. And I was like, I kid you not. This is what I did. I went, this is god dang spam. That's what I thought. God dang spam. Spam is just getting egregious. Even though it had, it looked like it came on the outside from my editor. I was just like, this is just too much. And then I opened it, and it was a note from my editor who said, "Congratulations, we've just learned that your book, The Seven Miracles of Beatrix Holland, debuted on the USA Today Bestseller list." Holy crap. It's not very high on the list, but it's on the list. That's not what she said. That's what I'm saying. I have never hit a US big list. Um, those include USA Today, Wall Street Journal, and New York Times. The one I've always really, really wanted to hit is the USA Today, because USA Today really looks at genre books, at commercial books, and they count by sales and not sales velocity, which is what the New York Times does, which can be very confusing. But I've never hit a big list, and I am just tickled. I have called myself an internationally best-selling author for many years, and you may have heard me say this. I am an internationally best-selling author because I have hit lists, official lists. These are not Amazon lists. These are not EPUB lists. I've hit official lists back in the day with some romance in Australia and New Zealand. Thank you, Bob's your uncle. I am now internationally best-selling because I was best-selling in two countries at once with one book. But now I am a USA Today best-selling author. What does that actually mean? A friend saw my Facebook post and she texted me. She goes, "Congratulations! What is that? What does that actually mean?" It doesn't mean much. It means that the book sold well in the time that it is on the list. Who knows if it'll be on there next week or not? Maybe it will. But the cool thing about it is that it doesn't matter how long it's been on there. It's a mark, it's a cachet. It's a mark of cachet. Basically, for the rest of my author career, I can say Rachael Herron, USA Today bestselling author. I'm just kind of stunned by it. And I'm purposefully doing something right now that I don't normally do. I am not downplaying it. I'm not saying what I really want to say. Well, it's just numbers. Oh, it did. Well, I did hear it say that it didn't hit very high. That'd be a normal Rachel thing to say. I'm not saying, oh, it's just a label. Who cares about a label? You know what? I care. I care. I've been doing this gig. I've been published now for 15 years. My first book came out in 2010. I'm around 30-ish books in. This is the first time that my book has had that kind of label attached to it, and my publishing house was happy. And my it was a publicist who told me this, and then my editor, actually it was from the publicist. I forgot that. It just showed that it came from Grand Central. And then my editor was the one who weighed in after that, who said, OMG, OMG. This editor doesn't have to OMG anything. I always assume that everybody but me is hitting the list, Uh, and it doesn't mean that much. Well, you know what? There I go, trying to do it. I'm not going to do it. What it means to me is it's like a badge of staying power. It's a badge of honor for sticking around. It's not easy to stick around in publishing. It takes a lot of work and a lot of stubbornness, and I have that. And I got this badge, which really makes me feel so good. And I immediately wanted to share it with everyone. And in fact, I heard my wife cough as I was running around the house in the last few minutes before I was going to talk to Sasha. And she doesn't usually cough unless she's awake, and she wasn't really awake. I knocked and I opened the door and I said, "Are you awake?" And she goes, "What?" And I said, "There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong." And then I told her, and she did the amazing thing where like one beat of absolute confusion, what is Rachel saying? And then launching into screams of celebration, which is how your partner should react to you in that situation. And as I was leaving the room to say, and I was saying, "Go back to sleep," she said, "You could have woke me up for that." And now I mean, obviously I do that, but I wouldn't have woken up for her up for that. Um, but I got to tell her, and I'm just so pleased that this little book of my heart that has already been so magical has done that and has given me this gift of this tag that will follow me wherever I go in the future. I'm just grinning ear from ear. Ear, ear from ear, ear to ear. What is that phrase? Ear to ear. From ear to ear. That's what it is. Words have left me. Anyway, thank you for coming along on that journey. I'm so, so, so excited that just a week after, is it a week after it came out? Yeah, a week after it came out. Yeah, because it debuted there. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Now let's slip into the warning. If you have published a book already, you may already be seeing this. If you have published a book in any capacity, the reason I was so hyper alert to thinking that whatever that email was about my book, it was probably a scam, is that I am getting between 5 and 20 emails a day that are unique to me. So they go into my main priority inbox. They're not automatically getting flagged into spam about marketing a book of mine. If you have published a book and if you are findable, like if your name is on your book and you have a website, which you should have as an author, and you should have an email connected to that website or at least a contact form, people should be able to get a hold of you if you have written a book. But if you've done that, scammers have just in the last, I would say the last 2 months, this has started happening. Actually, I can tell you when I got the first one. It was July 10th. So 6 weeks. It's been 6 weeks that I got the first one ever. And I almost fell for it. Here's the thing. This is why I'm talking about it. 15 years in to this industry, 30 books published. And I almost fell for this one. And I want to read you this email. This first email that I got came from Lit Flare Agency. It says, "Hi, Rachael Herron. I have to say, Eliza's Home, which is which is a novella that I wrote that is in the Cypress Hollow series, and it's not like the other books. It's a historical that kind of gets you into the contemporary romance series. Okay, I have to say, Eliza's Home didn't just read like a Cypress Hollow return. It felt like a warm, homespun secret finally shared. You have this rare gift, anchoring female-centered stories in a place that's equal parts Heartland and Heartwood. What the heck? I don't know what that means. Where love isn't just a plot point, but a thread spun through survival, legacy, and tenderness. And Eliza, she's not just a character. She's a living echo of resilience, running, reckoning, and rooting herself into the kind of love that makes staying feel braver than leaving. That's it's a bit much, but it's almost a sentence that I would write. Uh, and then goes on. But here's what struck me most. You didn't just write post-war fiction. You gave it breath. You took a quiet patch of land, a broken down truck, and made readers believe again in healing, in place, in the handmade magic of starting over. Handmade magic? Now I'm starting to believe this person has read this book. This book is about knitting. It's about making things by hand. The broken down truck, that is not in any of the reviews or the blurb on the back of the book. Going on. Now, allow me a quick observation, one that comes from working with authors across genres and continents, including New Zealand. They're saying they know where I live, which is a good thing. Cypress Hollow is more than a setting. It's a global subgenre waiting to be claimed. And that's where I think your legacy fiction, especially the novella, is currently underleveraged. Why? Because stories like Eliza's don't just belong to the 547 reviewers on Kindle. They belong to Australian romance and World War II nostalgia readers who consume small town women's fiction voraciously, UK historical fiction clubs obsessed with civilian centered narratives of recovery, super relevant to the book. Canadian book clubs tracking quiet feminist stories post 2020 boom. I have no idea what that means. And then even domestic Kiwi readers who crave legacy set stories told by one of their own. Okay, listen to this. But most authors, especially hybrid ones with nonfiction, romance, thriller, and memoir under their belt, aren't shown how to organically expand visibility across multiple global reader segments without burning out or turning to predatory promo schemes. That's where I'd love to come in. Speaking of predatory promo scheme, this person knows the word hybrid. A hybrid publisher, you know that I believe, is bad. It's practically a vanity publisher. It's usually a vanity publisher. But a hybrid author, good. A hybrid author is one who both traditionally publishes and self-publishes. That's deep industry knowledge. And that's saying I have knowledge of you and I understand this market, right? Goes on to say, I help legacy authors, I'm a legacy author, been around a long time, like you, build evergreen reader ecosystems without gimmicks, ads, or launch and pray tactics. That's a good line. Launch and pray. That's what I do. I use a proprietary framework called the Organic Reader Visibility System, and it's built for authors who already write genre-spanning fiction with heart and heritage, have rich backlists like your Cypress Hollow universe and thriller series under R.H. Herron, so they connected me there, which is not hard to do, but also not easy. It won't just come up in a cursory search or even a cursory AI dive. And want to play stories in lasting circulation, not just to sell in spikes. Here's what I'd love to send you: a tailored visibility map for Eliza's Home in the Cypress Hollow series, built to, there's this list of identify geo-specific reader blooms, uncover under-tapped Goodreads groups, reveal potential crossovers between your thriller audience and Cypress Hollow readers. Yes, it exists. That's what he says. I don't believe that. Integrate your nonfiction and memoir audience into your fiction discoverability. Strategically position Cypress Hollow as a legacy brand, like Virgin River or Mitford. Those are two really good comps, without needing a Netflix deal to make it work. This isn't a pitch. It's not a coaching package. It's a visibility asset, custom built around your work, your tone, and your audience. You've already built something with staying power, Rachel. Now it's time to make sure the right readers in the right countries find you, not just now, but for the next 10 plus years. Would you be open to reviewing that visibility map? Just reply sure, and I'll personally send it your way. Dude, that had some weird words in there, and I definitely knew immediately that it was probably written with AI because it reads like that. But it also displayed a level of knowledge that freaked me out. And now, of course, I do believe that this was just a deep dive with AI and probably using the book itself, because I've been getting these weird sales of Eliza's Home to generally men's names. And a bunch of them have been marked, probably two out of the three of those sales, and I get a few a day. They're marked as probably fraudulent. And what I think is probably happening with those is that somebody's trying out a credit card that they've stolen. But this one, or maybe not, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe they're all using our books that are out there to feed into any kind of AI and then give us this detailed, flattering assurance that indeed they can help us with our work, with our writing. And signed warmly, Timmy. Timmy has no last name. Founder, Lit Flair Book Marketing Agency, helping authors build legacy visibility, not just launch spikes. Timmy doesn't have a last name. There is no website attached to this. Of course, doing due diligence, I Google Lit Flair, and it does have a website. It's a terrible website. Sites.google.com/view/litflairmarketing/home. That's not a real website. That's not a real URL. That is a parked travesty. And here are more red flags that we can look for. Under the about, there's not a person. There's no Timmy. There is a terrible AI photo of people sitting around a living room reading together. There is a nice picture of an attractive Black woman in front of kind of a businessy looking set of doors with green behind her. She looks very professional, like somebody that I would trust, but she doesn't look like a Timmy. No name. And there's nothing else about who they are, who they've ever worked with. although that doesn't matter. Their services pretty generic. So that was I wrote back and said, I think, what did I say? I can actually look at the email and say, I said, writers are smarter than this. I shouldn't have responded. Okay. Don't troll the trolls. There's never anything to be gotten out of that, but they've been pissing me off. Since then, they've gotten sloppier and worse. And I'm getting so many a day about all of my books. And for a while there, I was really getting into, I would always respond back with, what's your website? Because they never link it. So then they would send me their website and then I would go look at it and it would be terrible. But the problem is pretty soon those sites will be good. And then about a week or two ago, they started putting quotes up there, blurbs from other authors. N.K. Jemisin, you may know as the incredibly popular science fiction writer, thanked the agency that had reached out to me for formatting her books. They did such a good job formatting her books. You know who doesn't format her books? N.K. Jemisin, who is traditionally published. She's not formatting her books. Brandon Sanderson also thanked somebody for the editing that they gave him. I know that Brandon Sanderson does not know that does not know that he is being claimed. I'm also getting emails every day from large writers' names. Who have I had? Why is my brain just gone blank? But it would be like Brandon Sanderson emailing you and saying, "Hey, I'm going to find an email and bring it up. Hold on." Okay, here's one. This is from Colleen Hoover. You may have heard of Colleen Hoover, and the email address is colleen.colleenhoover@gmail.com. Absolutely legit. But you know what? A newer person in the industry or a more naive person in terms of interneting might believe that colleen.colleenhoover@gmail.com could be real because it says Colleen Hoover right there, so it has to be her. This is what this one says. It's short. Hi, hope you're doing well. I love connecting with fellow authors and hearing about the stories they're working on. I've put together a free checklist of quick ways to engage readers and build excitement for your book. It's something I think every author, whether just starting out or already published, can find useful. If you'd like me to send it your way, I'd be happy to. And I'd also love to hear what you're working on right now, your upcoming release, current project, or even just an idea that has you excited. Looking forward to connecting. Warmly, Colleen Hoover. So by this time, this was this is just like a week and a half ago. I was deeply annoyed by these things. So to her, I just sent back, "Are you published?" Because now I'm just effing with them. And no, I'm not doing it anymore. I got over it, but that was fun. And Colleen writes back, "Yes, I'm a published author. I'd love for you to check out my books. They're all close to my heart. My latest release is It Starts With Us, which continues the story from It Ends With Us. I'd love to hear what you think if you get a chance to read it." And I wrote back, "Good for you. How cute your little book looks. I wish you all the best with that. I do charge $350 an hour for writing coaching, and I charge by the minute. So you owe me $17 so far. How would you like to pay? And when shall we meet on Zoom?" And I thought that was clever. You know what's clever? Is what she said. She just she sent me one line. I just sent the payment. And I just say to that, good show. Good show, Colleen. Good show. That's really a very funny thing to send. And I wrote back, "Oh, good. Let me know when your little gift arrives." Um, but honestly, I knew I can't compete with, I just sent the payment for $17. I think that. So I'm messing with them. They're messing with me. But what if you were a brand new baby writer and Colleen Hoover or somebody like that, Brandon Sanderson and Kane Jevison, um, is your favorite writer of all time? And they send you that from an email that could be legit, and you've just published your book, and maybe they have found it, maybe they really want to talk writing. What all of these things, what all of these people, these agencies are trying to do is trying to talk you into a package where they will, quote unquote, help you promote your book. Here is the thing. They cannot promote your book. They're promising you this hope that what they will give you or do for you will get your book into the hands of the right readers. I always say this, and I know it's tiring, but New York Publishing doesn't know how to get books into the hands of the right readers. No one knows. We are all just doing the best we can, and the only people who are really qualified to do that are, in this order, ourselves. Ourselves. First of all, ourselves. If you are concerned with marketing and promoting your book, go buy the book by Dana Kay, Kaye. Dana's been on the show before. Um, and it's called Your Book, Your Brand. Dana Kay is an incredible publicist who knows what she's doing and she knows how to connect with people, with newspapers, with magazines, with podcasts, with all of the ways where you can do content marketing. And she put it all in a book, $7 book or whatever it is. Go get that. That's where you can start. The other thing that we can do is we can look for verified people who have a lot of expertise in this field at helping authors with their promotion. You can hire somebody who has a lot of experience and great reviews to help with with an Instagram campaign or to help you make your author website look a little bit better or to help you rewrite your blurb because that's what they're good at. Fly by night operations who have crappy websites and no verifiable ratings cannot do that. They are in it for the money and they're gonna get the money. They're gonna get the money from a lot of writers. And it makes me furious. This brings out the big mama bear energy in me. We are allowed to hire people to help us, but we want to vet them. We want to see where they have worked. For the N.K. Jemisin one, where they said that they had formatted her book for her, and she was so happy and gave them this glowing recommendation. I wrote back, uh, I wrote back, I don't think N.K. Jemisin has worked with you. And they wrote back, yes, she has. And then I went back to the website and she had been taken off because that was a big lie. And they didn't think that anybody would notice. But Brandon Sanderson was still up on the other one last I checked. And there's going to be, and the reason I'm giving this up is that it's a waste of my time, although it is a little bit fun, but it's not a good kind of fun. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my energy. So now when they come in, I just hit spam and they go away and they don't come back. And the more I hit spam, honestly, that's the best thing I can do. Because when I am responding to them, well, I hadn't thought about this till this very second. This is good. When I respond to them, I'm training their email service provider and Google or whoever's running this stuff that it's a safe address and that it should be delivered into primary email boxes. And if I'm having this back and forth with them, then that means it's good. It's a good conversation. It should be more of them should be delivered. So that is a very good point. Every time I hit spam, I'm sending a message out into the universe that this person is trying to scam. A person who is trying to do this legitimately doesn't work this way. They have a real website and they have real contacts and they have real people that you can look up in or on Amazon. For a while there, they were making up books and authors. So when you would read the recommendation from somebody, you could take that book title and that author and go to Amazon and no such book title existed. So there was nobody to refute it. So now they're just using big names. It's going to get a lot worse. I don't think it's going to stop. And it is something to tell your friends about. It is something to talk about. There are so many scammers out there in so many different arenas. We want to only hire people that we have vetted who will work with us kindly, justly, for a good rate, and who know what they're doing and who have experience. Preferably, you will talk to people who have worked with them before and they will tell you what it was like. So that is my warning. Don't troll the trolls. Don't waste your time. Although then if you don't, then you won't get Colleen Hoover telling you that she just sent the $17 payment. Dang, that was good. I almost want to hire that person just for being funny. Um, and yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here as I launch this Seven Miracles book that I don't know how to market or launch. And honestly, I believe that nothing I have done has led to it being on the USA Today Bestseller list. It's definitely way more down to my publisher who put a really great cover on it. And I do believe that there was a lot done when it went from the dark black cover, well, black is dark, to this bright, beautiful pink that shows up well everywhere and that reads more like the tone of the book. So, yeah, and I had no control over that. I have no control over most of the things except for writing. So, the last thing I will say is this morning I sat down to attend Writing Guild Sessions, which is a part of Ink Village, where we sit together and write. And there were people there, and I had just found out about the USA Today seal of approval. And I was so excited. I was so excited. I was so excited. How was I going to come down? but I needed to get writing done. And so I did. I did. And it was the best thing I could have done. For the next 2 hours, I just wrote. It was in the back of my mind. I'd see the book on the desk occasionally, and it would kind of sparkle and twinkle at me. But the real joy was getting into the work and making sentences into the form and shape that I want them to be in. I was working on a Patreon essay that'll go out later this month. For those of you who don't know, I'm writing about exploring death, writing about the idea of organizing death, and that Patreon. So if that floats your boat, you may want to join my Patreon, rachaelherron.com/Patreon. No, that's wrong. That's the wrong address. I always get that one. Patreon.com/Rachel. Patreon.com/Rachel if you want to get in on that. But I will warn you that I'm going to give a spice warning on these essays, and this one might be really difficult. This one is, I'm talking about a 3-hour death meditation that I attended and what happened in it. So it's not for the faint of heart. But if you're into that, come along. Thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for writing. Thanks for bringing your words into the world. Our words are what matter. Our real words, our connections that we have with other people, not the scammers. Screw them, but the real connections. And that is what you are building. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Now you should go do a little writing. Okay, bye.